Sandy Neck Beach Park. Thousands of years have allowed this barrier beach to develop into 4,700 acres of dunes, maritime forests, and marshes. It is a living museum, a habitat for wildlife, and enjoyed by thousands in the warm summer months and all year round. But part of it is in trouble. Recent winter storms have wreaked havoc on the front dune, washing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sacrificial sand out to sea and putting the parking lot in jeopardy. Emergency sacrificial sand is on the way, but it is clear that a more permanent solution is needed. On Friday, February 27th, Secretary of Environmental Affairs Matthew Beaton joined State Representatives Tim Whalen, Brian Mantle, and Randy Hunt, along with Sandy Neck Beach Park Manager Nina Coleman, Town Manager Tom Lynch, and other town officials at the beach to tour the damage and discuss ideas for the future.
We really have to address this right now so we don't lose our parking and try to buy some time, as Christine's talking about. Ultimately, there is talk of retreat, which is the big topic here for a lot of municipalities with these parking lot issues, and that's to pull everything back. Fortunately, we just redid everything up here, so that's pretty discouraging. But we do have multiple issues with retreat. We have spade-foot toad habitat directly behind us. We have plover habitat in front of us. We're sort of hemmed in. So, you know, we need a path. We need a solution. We need a way to maintain this. You know, we certainly can't expand our parking lot. That's been very clear over the years, but we don't want to lose it.
Core bags are an option that could provide more protection than sacrificial sand. But as CLE engineer Christine Plyer explains, it still is just a temporary solution.
We can't guarantee anything, but it's better than just putting the sand on the beach. They're huge bags that the sand is put in, they're wrapped with core, and they're stacked on each other, and then they're covered with sand, they're planted. And really, Plum Island, I don't know if anyone's aware of the folks up there and the problems that the barrier beach up there has had for many, many years. These bags were used, I want to say back in 2005, successfully to kind of hold the ground. Again, it's a temporary solution, it's not the long-term answer, but there's very limited opportunities available when it comes to dealing with an eroding dune system. And that's a result of the regulations that we have to deal with when trying to address the erosion along these dune systems. And as Nina alluded to, it is an area of critical environmental concern, which is just another layer of the how this is scrutinized. So we've been working collectively. The sandbags, again, it is not the answer. It's something we feel where it's biodegradable. DEP has been in support of these bags because of their nature to degrade and not be a hardscape type of structure. I believe they continue to be in support of using these bags, but by no means is this fixing the problem.
The dune has changed significantly in recent years, due mostly to the impacts of storms coming out of the north.
Over the past 10 years, when you look at the primary dune system along the parking lot, it's fairly consistent. Nina does a great job putting in snow fence to try to help accretion. It's a technique, it's a soft solution, it's a pretty inexpensive methodology that helps trap the sand and hold the sand. And the beach constantly changes. We've got winter beach, we've got summer beach, so things are constantly moving here. But if you look at the frontal dune system, this is 05, 07, it's fairly stable. This is 2010, 2012. You see we've lost some of the dune here. This is 2012, so this is right before Sandy. Unfortunately, Sandy was October 2012, and then there was Nemo 2013. Unfortunately, we don't have a 2013 aerial. The next aerial available was 2014, and you can see all of this frontal dune. It's gone. And on top of it, this image is showing the remnants of the 2013 sand placement that the town did put sand out here. So this is a little deceiving. If that sand, that sacrificial material wasn't placed there, I'm not quite sure what this image would look like. But as you can see, there's a significant change that all of a sudden after 2012. What you can't see, and I wish I made the picture a little bit bigger, is what's also going on in the front area of the beach. There's kind of like a speed bump here, and what's happening is water's getting around and pooling and creating some additional scour action behind here. But yeah, I've been working here for over 10 years with Nina, and it's always been a fairly stable dune system, and over the last 3 years it's really just changed considerably. Again, and I see this as very site specific. I mean, again, there are, I mean, miles of dunes here that I wouldn't, for one moment, say let's put stone on those dunes. Like, but when you have this infrastructure, this investment, which this is all new infrastructure, correct? 2010. We've got septic. We've got public health concerns up here. It really is so frustrating, and it's frustrating for me, who's been doing this for 20 years, to watch the fight to protect the investments that exist, and also the investment that are providing recreational opportunities for so many. And I think that's where the frustration comes in with all of the folks here. We go to these meetings, and it's a lot of the approach is so counterintuitive, like you were just saying. We used to be able to solve these problems. But I think a lot of it has to do, it's the regulations. And I'm not saying I'm going to rewrite regulations, but I do believe this is the time, and actually it's a little late to be quite frank, that we all have to sit down and we have to start figuring out how this all can help everybody's cause, but not lose that there is some common sense and practical approach to some of these issues that we're dealing with up and down the shoreline.
Secretary Beaton says he will continue to pay attention to the issue and is open for further discussion and collaboration.
Opportunity, and I think it goes in line well with the governor's priority of a resiliency plan and looking at the issues and what regulations and policies we have in place that we need to fix to address long-term, especially coastal resiliency in what seems to be a higher frequency of significant storm events. So, I think now that we're starting to see the regularity of these storms and the impact of these storms, there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency around it. And I know with our administration, there's a refresh of that. So we will definitely. We'll have to figure out the best way to look at this and even entertain, maybe a side conversation. We don't have to get into the details, but specifically some of the permitting and the things in place that are, for lack of better terms, barriers to get this to go forward.
The permitting process can delay or even prevent permanent solutions in coastal wetlands such as Sandy Neck.
We've gotten some recent feedback that the bags may not be as easily permitted as I believe that they should be. Again, this has been used up in Plum Island. It was successfully used. It lasted a good 5 years. So it's just a matter of us getting through the process. I'm not expecting it to not happen, but there's been a little bit of information that recently has come out that might be conflicting. So we're going to be looking into that.
Should that be part of the conversation the Secretary is talking about?
I think it all needs to be part of the conversation. And I am not an advocate for this bag solution, but it's the best. That we know DEP, we've had meetings with DEP and CZM over the past 2 years about this site as well as the Blish Point site. And for those that have sat at those meetings, the message was loud and clear. The only thing we're going to authorize is a soft solution. And don't bother asking for stone, don't bother asking for beach scraping, don't come asking that because this is gonna be a fight. So our thought process was, okay, we've got something that's better than just dumping sand. Let's look at that, but look at it collectively with, we also need to streamline, starting to look at what is the long-term solution. And that's, I think, where the other conversation comes into play, is that both things have to happen concurrently. We need to somehow stabilize this so it buys the time to figure out how we can best go forward.
The temporary core bag solution will continue to be explored, but the question remains, what is in the future for protecting the dune and the infrastructure that lies beyond?